Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Alright, we're going to finally start researching the Chinese EV industry and see if they pose a threat to Tesla. I think people believe it's a lot simpler than it is. We'll explore how the Chinese will operate in different markets and go deep into each manufacturer, exploring their products and the company financials. Let's see if China really does have a chance. To put it succinctly, China tries to replicate Tesla as much as possible whilst trying to keep everything as low cost as possible. But to undercut Tesla's price point, the only option for them is to have significantly lower profit margins. Well, gross profit margins, that is. They don't make any net profit. Well, except for BYD, but we don't know how much of that is from their previously established hybrid business. Tesla have done such an outstanding job at reducing costs, even the Chinese can't get below them, at least not offering a product of equal value. These are growth companies with no profit. Every quarter they have less cash on hand and can only raise money by diluting the company with more share issues. Oh, that and the CCP. Yeah, remember, every Chinese EV sold in China is subsidized. Those subsidies don't apply outside of China. They're lowering these subsidies too. The current subsidies are down to around maximum of about US $3,000, I believe, but it depends on the range of the vehicle too. So can Chinese EVs be a match for Tesla in the US? Well, for starters, they don't get their subsidy from the Chinese government, losing their home turf advantage. Then there is another 25,000 import tariff to the US, along with all associated shipping costs. Then there is likely another $10,000 to $12,500 subsidy from the US government for all non-Chinese EVs. So the government used protectionism and mercantilism to keep the Chinese EVs out. As if that wasn't enough, there is the charging network issue. Although the Chinese may decide to use Tesla's charging networks, but that doesn't help them with the service centers. At the rate the Chinese are launching these new EVs, I find it unlikely their quality is that great, compared to how long Tesla take to research, develop and design their EVs. Saying that will be great for the YouTube algorithm, because I'll get tons of people telling me about Tesla's panel gaps. Well, a panel gap doesn't mean the car will be unreliable and break down. Besides, the panel gap issues were only when Tesla is ramping up, and they have been doing a significant amount of ramping, and they are working on it. Sandy Munro says it's easy to sort out, but what's not easy is everything else Tesla does, which is far more important. But please do comment and tell me how bad quality Teslas are. It should help boost the video. Okay, so Chinese EVs don't have the disadvantages that legacy autos face, such as the car dealer network and unions, but they still need to advertise. They'd need to advertise a lot in the US to convince Americans to buy Chinese over American. Not only that, they won't be able to match Tesla's price point, let alone undercutting Tesla's price, and will still make a loss on every vehicle. Chinese EVs have to serve as a cheaper option over Tesla, or else what's the point of them? All they've done is copy Tesla. NIO's entire presentations are them comparing themselves against Tesla's specifications, with cars that won't come out for another 2 years compared to what Tesla offers today, with magic technology that doesn't even exist yet. So probably to have 0% gross margin, these Chinese EVs will probably need to cost $10,000 more than a Tesla, and will also have the inconvenience of no service centers. In fact, we do hear the lack of Tesla service centers does put consumers off, and it's something Tesla owners also struggle with, simply because there are not enough service centers. But where there are service centers, Tesla customers say that the service is great. I mean, Tesla come to your house at times too. I can't remember BMW coming to my house to do an oil change. The thing is, the number of Tesla service centers is only going to increase, and the network will improve over time, but it is capital intensive, which is difficult to achieve if you lose money every quarter. This is something legacy autos have achieved, namely through such early adoption and the legacy auto business model being built around the car dealer network. If you're a new auto company, even traditional ICE, and want to sell cars, well, you need to be able to service and repair the cars too. It's likely the technology is different from all the other trained mechanics in other specific manufacturers. You would need to train specific mechanics on how to work on your car. Then you need to somehow replicate this so that there is at least one service center that can maintain these vehicles in every city. Right, get the picture? It's incredibly difficult. Now Tesla are doing a great job in adding service centers, and over time we will see a lot more. For example, what about XPeng? If you lived in Salt Lake City and wanted an XPeng, what if something goes wrong with it? Who do you see about that? There may be a service center in Los Angeles perhaps, but how are you going to get it all the way there? What if you're in an accident and need some repairs done too? Your local Toyota service center won't have a clue what to do. Not only is this a major inconvenience, hassle and likely expense, but it's simply going to put off every consumer, particularly when they can buy a Tesla, likely for less money, avoiding these risks. And would an insurance company be willing to insure something so unknown with lack of suitable infrastructure? If they are, it won't take long until they identify this car as high risk, possibly. Whereas Tesla, well, they'll likely be able to insure your car, cheaper than any other insurance company can. Yes, the car dealer network is counting against legacy autos in their EV transition. This used to be a huge barrier to entry and competitive advantage for the auto industry, but Tesla have managed to circumvent it, and are now growing their own service centres on a similar scale to legacy autos. Eventually, almost every town might have a Tesla service centre, like there's a Ford service centre, although perhaps Tesla service centres don't do so much business, as there is no oil change and engine maintenance required, so maybe there'll still be less relative demand for them in the first place. And perhaps Tesla still needs to work out a few logistical items too. Just remember how fast this company is growing. You can't expect it to all be perfect at first. Legacy autos have this infrastructure, and these service centres may eventually adapt into dealing more with maintaining electric cars. Therefore, they may have a chance, although the model may be entirely different, and there will likely be a lot fewer service centres or car dealers in every city. It's a total catch-22 situation. Consumers won't buy a car if there is no service centre. The car manufacturer won't build a service centre if there are no customers. It's a very tough business dilemma, and it's the major reason companies like Facebook have such a great competitive advantage. If I made a better version of Facebook, and even if it showed no advertising, then people still wouldn't use it, as my version wouldn't have the billions of other users. It's really hard building out like this. Look how long it's taken Tesla. It would take anyone else a significant amount of time and capital too. But like I'm saying, there is the cost of running a service centre, whilst you have so few customers. It's especially hard if you lose money every quarter too. Whereas Tesla just need to build a service centre in a new town, and suddenly that town will start getting more Tesla orders, and soon enough the service centre will become profitable. Although bear in mind, servicing is still a money loser for Tesla, as these cars carry such long warranties. But there will come a time when these warranties run out, and more income will come from this side of the business. Remember, this is a hugely profitable area for legacy autos, despite them having to share the profits with the privately owned car dealerships. But as for Tesla, well, the issue is they keep building so many more new cars that it will be a while until there are more cars without warranties than there are with, which is fine by me as long as Tesla sales keep increasing that much. The more I think about this, the US is such a huge barrier to entry for China, and so hard to beat Tesla at their own game, but especially on their home turf. US is the largest auto market in the world by dollars spent, and Tesla will dominate. Yet Tesla are also dominating China, and we're just talking about their Chinese sales, let alone the actual number of EVs produced in China. As soon as Giga Berlin is up and running, these Chinese sales will increase significantly. I look forward to researching the Chinese EVs in depth and seeing what kind of competition they truly pose to Tesla, and also how the legacy autos might stack up against Chinese EVs too. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.